Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you guys so much for joining us this afternoon for the Creating CMA and Real Comp Online webinar. My name is Janine. I'm one of your trainers at Real Comp, along with my partner, Tora Robertson. So if you ever decide to join us for any additional classes, or whenever you guys are able to come visit us back at our office for classes, you'll have myself or Tora to guide you through that day's particular topic. So let's talk CMAs. My goal today is to show you guys 5 different scenarios of how to do a CMA, and more importantly, show you that it does not have to be painstaking whatsoever. So I'm going to show you 5 examples of how to do a CMA, and I'm going to show you 3 examples of how to present those CMAs to Real Comp. Once you get a handle on it, it'll probably take you no less than 10 minutes from beginning to end to start your CMA, finish it, and be ready to present it to a customer. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I want to show you is where you can get a manual for the CMA, because sometimes everyone doesn't learn just by watching and observing. Sometimes you need a step-by-step guide. So I'm going to log into RCO3, or Real Comp Online, if you will. And let's move this out of the way, our different announcements that we have here. And I'm going to scroll on over and go to the help button. Okay, this is where all of our recordings of our latest videos are at, and this is also where it's really just Real Comp Central. Everything that you ever wanted to learn about Real Comp is here. We've got videos for most of our classes, and we also have some tip sheets too. So when I click on help, again, as I stated, everything about Real Comp is here on the left margin. And we've got RCO3 manuals and videos. Here's where you'll be able to print out the manual if you need it. And then I'm going to click on training videos and recorded webinars. And when you click on training videos and recorded webinars, we've got some quick tips videos here for you. But as you continue to scroll down, every class that we teach, here is a full-on video for the beginning to the end of the class here for you. Even how to pay your bill online if you're a new agent, you're not quite sure what to do, here you go, okay? And if you want to improve your social media, we've got a video there for you as well. And here are your 2 for CMAs. One was just not enough, so we thought we'd bring you another one here to help you out, if depending on which way you like to do your CMAs the most. Okay, so under the help button, you're going to find everything. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top, click on home, and let's go ahead and get started. So the first type of CMA that I'd like to show you, I think everyone kind of does this on their own. In the office, we call it a pseudo CMA, where your customer is just kind of throwing information at you and you're just filling it in and seeing what you get. Now, here's what I suggest that you do. Anytime you get a chance to do a CMA, you want to go into Remind and look the address up and gather as much information about that property as possible, okay? You also could look it up in PRD, but Remind is going to have the latest and greatest in public records data information for you. If you haven't taken our Remind webinar yet, you can under the help button, or you can wait for the live one. And I don't have that date in my head right now, but it's generally every week or every other week we're hosting a Remind class, but it's the latest and greatest in public records. So assume that we did that. And the property that we are going to do our presentation on, they're sellers. They live in Farmington Hills. They live in a sub called Kindlewood. They've got a 3-bedroom, a bath and a half, and about maybe 1,300, a little bit more square footage. They do have a garage and they do have a basement. So with that little bit of information, you can start building a CMA around it. So I'm going to hover over search, I'm going to choose residential. Now I can pick quick or detail. It's just really up to you. But I'm going to pick quick for class. And when you click on the quick search, I always start in my left column. Always do status first. So of course, since I'm doing a CMA for someone that has actually that's owning the house, they're sellers, I'm going to check off sold. Now notice that it automatically pulls up going back a year. I'm going to backspace that out. I'm going to put 180 days. That way I get mid-year. So if I get too many results, I can back it up to 90 days, sometimes 60, depending on what goes on in the neighborhood. If I don't get enough, I can back it up to a whole year. I'm also going to do this. Now, this is for my eyes only, so I get to know the neighborhood. If you are not familiar with the area that you have to do your CMA in, you want to scope the neighborhood. So I'm going to click on pending just to see activity, and I'm going to go back 90 days. You know, if there's a property that's pending more than 3 months, I think we all kind of give it a side eye, like what's kind of going on with that one. But this should kind of tell the story here of 90 days. And I'm going to choose active because I want to see what also is on the market. And not only do I want to see it, my customers, they live there. So I know they've seen the signs go up. So I want to see what my competition in the neighborhood is doing. Excuse me. As I continue to scroll back down, again in this column here, I'm going to choose, in this case, residential. And now I need to pick my area here. Oops, sorry. There we go. I'm going to come on down to county. Oh, scroll back up there a little bit. And it's in Oakland, so I'll put my code for Oakland. And I'm just going to type in the city of Farmington Hills. Make it easy. I could find it in area, but sometimes it's just easy to type it in. And I've got 510 matches so far. Now, whenever you are doing a CMA, two things are extremely important. Time, which we have it, because at the top here, we've got our 180 days and we've got our 90 days. And I didn't put any time for actives because if there's a property that's been on the market for 2 years, I want to see it. Okay, because again, our customer has seen it. But time and location. So we've got Farmington Hills, but one of the reasons we've got 510 matches is because we're doing all of Farmington Hills. That isn't going to work. So you need to find a way to narrow it down, which those are actually some of the ways I'm going to show you on future CMAs to do so. You could do the map search. You could do a school district. You could break it down by zip code if that makes a big of a difference. You can do it by subdivision. So there's several ways that you can use to zero in on a area so that you can get proper pricing for that area and that time. So I like to do subdivision when I can. So I'm going to scroll down just a little bit more. And because subdivision is not on the quick search, I had to add it through additional fields. So all these things that you see down here, I added them to my search. So I would click add and remove, and everything that I can search for is right here. I mean, it's all in alphabetical order. I'd find subdivision, double click to add it over to selected fields, or select it once and click add. Then I click back. And when I click on back and I scroll all the way back down, here's all the things that I've added along with subdivision. So the subdivision that we're searching for is called Kindlewood. So I'm going to click, instead of typing it in, I'm going to click on the little search box here. And now I'll type it in the search engine, Kindlewood. And you can see just by typing in a little bit, it finds it for me. So I can hold my control button down and select all 5 phases and click OK. So look, we went from 510 guys down to 15 just by putting in that additional subdivision, which locks us in directly to our area. So time and location. As I scroll back up to the top, now I'm going to tell you something that appraisers have taught me. Actually, the CMA that I'm showing you guys how to do now is literally what appraisers have taught me. Keep it as simple as possible. We don't put in price. We never want to think, even if we do know the area very well, we don't want to outsmart ourselves. So we need to, especially right now, while prices are going up and down, depending on the situation that we're in right now in the country. And also remember, it's spring, so prices are at a tandem anyway of either going up or staying steady because of where we are in April. So I'm going to leave price completely blank, and I'm going to let the system tell me what's been on the market. But here's what I will do. Since I am doing a CMA for a seller, leases are not going to help me. So I'm going to click sale price, and that's going to get me from the bottom dollar sale to the top dollar sale. And that, I did lose one. I went from 15 to 14. So we know one of those was on the market for lease or sold for lease. So I'm going to fill in the blanks now. So I have 3 bedrooms. So I'll put 3 plus. And they have a bath and a half. So I'll put 1.1 plus. Oh, nope. I'm down to 14 still. Okay, cool. I can keep on going. Let's talk square footage. Now, they say they have 1,300. Do you believe them? I would say no. Nobody has a full-on 1,300 square feet. And we all fabricate the size of our home, right? So, because it just sounds good to give it a round number. So if they say they have 1,300, this is another trick appraisers have taught me. Take the 300 of the 1,300 and split that in half, a little on the low side and a little on the high side. So I'm actually going to take it down and get a smaller home, and then I'm going to build it back up again. So I'm going to put in 150, and then I'm going to go ahead and put on top of the 300, excuse me, I'm going to put 1,450. That way it's a little on the low side and a little on the high side there. And that way you can get a larger home and a smaller home. And look, I went all the way down to 4 matches. That's quite a bit, okay? But that might be what it is. So let's scroll up down and let's see if those 4 matches are good enough right now. I do want to add 2 more things. And then I can show you if they're not good enough, I'll show you how to go back and manage that. So yes, they have a basement. And when I scroll down a little bit more, oh, there we go. Yes, we have a garage. And when I click on results, here we are with our 4 results. Okay, so you don't want to make the mistake of not putting in garage and basement, because of course that does add value. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, and I did get a question about the bath and a half. Yes, you don't want to put, let me go back to that, because that's a very important question, especially if you're a newer agent. If I go back to criteria here, and we're looking at bath.labs, when you are filling out your listing, it's going to ask you how many full baths and then how many labs do you have, okay? How many baths? I got 1 bath and 1 bath and 1 lab. I can't put 1.5 as we normally would write, because that would be computer-wise. It would be 1 full bath and 5 labs. So yes, 1.1 is 1.5. So if it had 2 labs, it'd be 1.2. Okay, so keep that in mind. Or you could skip that if you feel uncomfortable filling it in that way, and you can put in how many full baths and then how many half baths if you'd like to. They give you the option. So I'm going to click on results, and we've got our 4. Let's see if these are good enough results for us. If you do not get what you expect to have, I'm going to show you a trick now, but as we further on in the class, I'm going to show you a foolproof one where you can't go wrong. But right now, if you're thinking, oh my God, that's just not enough. It's not enough at all. You can always go back to criteria, and here is what you change. You change what you have control over. You have control over the time. If again, these 4 were not enough, we could go back a year, okay, and see if we can dig up more. The other thing that you have control over is the square footage. You can stretch that if you need it to, play with that. What you do not want to play with are the features of the property. It's got 3 bedrooms. It's got a bath and a half. If you had to play with that, take it out, but don't start filling it around and putting in different numbers here and there, okay? Leave it as it is what it is. So we have our 4 results, and they don't look half bad, actually, okay? Price-wise, if we look, we've got the lowest here going from $189 up to $210. So we're at a $30,000 of a difference here, and if I scroll over, let's look at the square footage. They say they have 1,300 square feet. This isn't too bad. The truth is not being told there somewhere, but this is close enough. It's enough for fabrication. And actually, these are a little bit smaller than what they say they have. So, and this is probably about right. So what I'd like to do is dig deeper, because even though I have 4, which is a good amount, you really don't want to take a lot of listings with you, because just like you would lose train of thought, because I would stop listening to the agent because I'm so busy looking at the listings. So you want to pick the best out of the bunch that you can get, especially if you get a lot of results. So I'm going to change the way I'm looking at this, and I'm going to go for the summary. The summary allows me to get a quick synopsis of each property on the same page. I get to read the remarks, and I get to see the agent and the office that sold in the neighborhood. If I keep seeing the same name, I kind of know who has the lockdown on it, in the neighborhood. So I can also click on the picture, and I can scroll through, and I can start to see, well, yep, good, we got into the property. And that's why our pictures are so important. We need to see what we really are comparing. So I can see they got new wood floors in the property. They didn't get new cabinets. They painted the cabinets, and they got like it looks like they might have went to Home Depot or something and got one of those new countertops or whatever, just to update the kitchen a little bit. But it by no means is it a new kitchen, but it's decent. And let's see if they have an updated bathroom of some sort. Somewhat. I mean, you can move in and do your own projects later, kind of a thing, right? So they did add in some things. They do have an updated kitchen, bathroom somewhat. So those are the pictures for that first comp. Then we'll move on down to the second with our 4 here that we've got. So I think I would keep that one. Because remember, usually you're going into your property sight unseen. And again, wooden floors, not an updated kitchen. I'm sorry, bathroom. Not an updated bathroom at all. Okay. Decent kitchen. Still not an update, but the cabinets or what have you. Florida room, again. So, but look, they're counting on this to help them a little bit with the new water heater and the new furnace. And then you've got the somewhat finished basement. And then as we scroll on down again, okay, this is empty, nice wood floors, updated kitchen, with the appliances and all. And let's check out that bathroom. Not an updated bathroom, but it's decent. Everyone has their own little project to do, I'm sure. And the Florida room, and that's where we are. So the prices somewhat speak for themselves a little bit. Look at this. Here we are on Green Willow. It sold for $210, and that's the highest, I believe. And we've got one for $198 and $189. So yeah, it kind of speaks for itself. In this case, even though it looks like each property that's sold, it's about $10,000 a piece apart, I think I would actually take this and show my customer all 4 of these. Here's the reason why, more so than anything. Number one, they're just like their house. We got lucky. They're all 3 bedrooms. They're all bath and a half, and they're all roughly about the same size that they said that they had, give or take this one that's, the smallest in size, but it's also the one that's lowest in price. But I don't know what was happening on Ridgebrook, but people were getting out of there. So 2 in the last 6 months. So I'm going to take all 4 of these. So I'm going to highlight these. And here is how I probably would do my first presentation for them. So remember, I'm going to show you 5 ways to do a CMA and 3 ways to present it. So here's your first way that you can present a CMA. I've selected them all. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and I'm going to click on print. Now, this does not mean I'm printing. This is where your report is at. You can show this on your phone. You can show this on your iPad. You can show this on your laptop with the customer. You don't have to print a thing. So I'm going to click on print and make sure my header is all filled out. Those of you that are newer agents, don't forget to go back and do your homework and make sure you go to my RCO and settings and fill out your header and your footer for occasions such as this. And I'm going to scroll on down to the bottom where it says client. Now, when you are picking flyers to show your customers, you always want to pick the one that says client because it removes the listing agent's information off and it puts yours there. So for purposes of class, you'll find the one that you like the best. I'm going to click on client flyer. I'm going to hold my control button down and click client photo display because I want them to see the inside shots of the property. I'm going to hold my control and click on multi-map because I want them to see where the properties are located in conjunction to theirs. And I'm going to get my figures with my CMA 1 line. Now for class, I'm going to pick both the portrait and the landscape so you can see the difference. It's the same report, it's just the way it's laid out so you can see how it looks. And once I've got my flyer, I've got my inside shots, I've got my map, and I've got my figures, I'm going to go ahead and click on print to PDF. Again, this does not mean you're printing. And we'll let that generate. Excuse me. And sometimes it takes a minute to do this, so it's just a matter of how many pictures are coming through. So here we go with our first flyer, and I'm going to blow this up so people can see. So there's my header at the top, and as I continue to scroll on down, see here, there's the flyer. Notice that it took away the listing agent's information and put mine. That's what it'll do for yours. Here's the next flyer and the next flyer and so on. And then it gets to the inside shots. And notice that it adds in extra information, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the date that it sold, the original price. So it was $200,000, but it ended up selling at $189,000 this time. And we'll scroll on down and we get to see the inside shots. Now imagine you showing your customer this. Now in their mind, they're immediately comparing their home to this right away. And who wants to print out color if they don't have to, right? And then the next one, again, this was 209, it sold for 198. Oh, this was right on the money. It listed for 208, sold at 208, right there. And then our last one, they asked for 220, it sold for 210. And the customer gets all the inside shots, so they're able to compare right away. And then here's the map, so they can see where each of the homes are located. And then lastly, here is your figures. So here's your CMA1 report. It timestamps it, and it reads back all the criteria that you used. And it gives your beds, your baths, your square footage, the year the home was built, the date it sold, the sold price per square footage, CDOM. CDOM is cumulative days on the market. So when it first went on the market until it sold, how many days did it stay on the market? So if it went off of the market, those days are discounted. And then when it went back on the tally, it started the tally again. And the reason I'm thinking that is this one that was for 153, maybe it was more than 1 not necessarily, but maybe there was maybe more than one agent, and they pulled it off of the market for a few days, and then they put it on because it took them a while compared to everything else to sell. So it is a cumulative of how many days it stayed on the market before it actually sold. And then you've got your original price. Well, maybe that's, never mind. Here's why. 244. That might be why it stayed for 153. And then finally, they dropped the price quite significantly to 209. And then it sold to 198. So there we go. And then you have the sold price percent of the original list price. How close did we come to selling it for what we originally listed it for? Now, let's stop here and talk about a little theory. When you are showing your customer this is really an important column, because don't forget, your customers, they're on different sites. They're on the Zillows, they're on the whatever may be that's telling them what they think that their home should be worth, right? So let's be real, they're already kind of on there searching, and by the time you meet with them, they already have a price in their head. Plus, it's their home. They know what they've put into it. So they're expecting, if they don't know the business, they are expecting to get that back. So if they put 30,000 in the kitchen, they think they're going to get 30,000 back. And we all know it does not work that way. So this is why this column is extremely important. When you're showing your comps, the sold price percentage of the original list price. This is for all those. This is how you do a Zillow bust right here. Zillow said it was going to do this. Well, we can see homes like yours did not really sell that way. And they wanted to list it like that. They did, but look what happened in the end. And then as we continue to scroll down, you do have your high, your low, your medium, and your mode of the tally of the averages of the list price, sold price, dollar per square footage, and age of home. And then down at the bottom, here's your CMA. So the truth lies in here somewhere. So you've got your averages. Now, mind you, we went back 6 months. So 6 months on average, homes are dollar per square footage, 158. It's about 70 days on the market, starting at about 222, 4, but dropping down to 209, and finally selling at 201. So if you walk into that home and it's the Taj Mahal, by all means, we can list higher because we see what it does, right? If you go into that home and it hasn't been touched since the Partridge Family, we know we're right on the low side, and you have pictures to back it up, okay? So keep that in mind when you're showing the property. The customer kind of has to get a little real. They haven't done any updates. They're already making a profit because of the way that homes have gone up, but they might not get what they're supposed to get, but they haven't done anything to get it either. Okay. Just like if someone outprices themselves, yeah, we can list it a little high, but that doesn't mean it's going to sell for that price either, because some people might think it's a little too much. It might sell faster, but that doesn't mean it's going to sell for the price that you want for it either. So if we scroll down just once more, here's the same report, but this is the landscape style. So it's about what you like, how you want to present it, either the portrait or the landscape. Now, again, this would be it. You don't have to print a thing unless you want to. Okay. You also, if you feel comfortable enough. Now, I'm going to suggest that you don't do this unless you get the actual listing, because people will be interviewing more than one agent, and they're going to take your information and they're going to use it against the next agent, right? But if you feel comfortable, there is an option there to email this CMA to the customer if you need it to, okay? You're not printing, wasting any ink whatsoever. I'm gonna go ahead and click on back to results. And I'm gonna go ahead and click back on home. And we are going to start our next CMA, okay. You don't have to worry about deleting the list office. Okay, let's talk about that on your reports, guys. NAR says the listing office has to be there because that company has to have credit for the listing. The list agent, however, is removed. Okay, so that's where it has to stay right there. Okay, alrighty. Let's go into our next version of a CMA. And personally, I really, there's 3 CMAs that I really think you guys are gonna like a lot. Not that I have anything against the search and the detail and the quick search. They do have a purpose, but you're always going to come out a winner using the map search. You just are. It cuts the middleman out. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways to use the map search. So I'm going to go into search, and we still have to go to quick or detail to get what we need. So I'm going to use, in this one, search residential quick. And the first way I'm going to show you how to do the map is simply by drawing on it, okay? Now, I'll be the first to tell you, you got to get used to it. So you got to practice the map. It has a mind of its own, okay? So it's kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch. You got to get your groove with it to get what you want. So I'm going to click on, notice I'm not filling anything else out. I'm going to click right in the center and click on map search. Now, let's say I have customers here and they're buyers. Actually, they're leasers. They want to lease in downtown Detroit, Midtown, as a matter of fact. They're young, it's popping. They want to be in the mix of everything. So they want to lease, maybe buy if they possibly can. So it just depends on pricing. So I'm going to click the plus sign on my map, and I can find it right here. And I'm going to, let me blow that up just a little bit more. There we go. And I'm going to go a little bit outside of Midtown because that's still considered, it's still considered the place where most of the properties are at, especially by Little Caesars. So I'm going to click on my polygon, and I am going to start to draw what I am looking for here and close that up. Now, when you close it back up, you have to answer the question. It wants to know, when you highlight over that red button there, it wants to know, do you want to delete this shape? Maybe you goofed. Or do you want to include this shape? Or do you want to exclude the shape? Sometimes you want to draw something and get rid of that and keep everything else. So I want to include the shape. I only want listings where in the rectangle that I drew. So when I click on include the shape, takes a moment, and perfect, it takes it, and now I can go back to criteria. When I click on criteria, map area selected is in red. I'm set. I'm not going to get any listings outside of the area that I drew. So all that, oh my gosh, where is it at? Did I click on the right area? Did I get the full subdivision or school district or zip code? It's all taken care of. You drew where you want it. This is also important when you have a customer that says, well, I want to be between, let's say, 15 mile and 16, you know, between this and that. So now they've given you landmarks. So that's your first thought is, oh, let me go draw it on the map. Okay. That way you don't have to worry about what you have to do to get the area that they wanted. Okay. So again, you're going to click on the map search. And at the top, you're going to click on those different, let me go back to your different icons that you have. I personally like the polygon because it gives you more control. I'm not a fan of the radius because it gives you more than what you're asking for. And sometimes the rectangle doesn't really kind of work. I like to take control of it and draw it myself. So that's why I like the polygon. That's just me. And that's how I keep my frustration down. Really, honestly, that's how I keep my frustration down using the map. So now that I've gotten the area that I want, now I can fill in what I want in that area. So of course, I'm going to click on sold. And I'll go back 6 months. I'm going to get my pending again. Go back 90 days on that. And I'm going to select active. This is a buyer. They need, of course, they're looking to buy, but they don't want to, you need to see the activity, and they also need to see what has sold too in the area. So I'm going to scroll down just a little bit lower. They are looking for a condo in this case. And I'm down to 256. I don't need to add in county, area, city, school district, zip code. I drew what I wanted. That's perfect. So I can go back up to the top here. Not going to fill in price. So I'm going to first look at leases because that's what they want. And when I click on lease, it's going down to 108. They need at least 2 bedrooms. And they need at least a bath and a half. Down to 46, not bad. And they need no less than 1,200 square feet, so 1,200 plus. And there we are, we got 39 matches. So I'm gonna click on results. And again, remember who your customer is this time. The first time we had a seller. This time we have a potential buyer or a leaser. So this will be a 2-for-1 here. So when I click on status, that's the first thing I want to do because I want to organize them. Here's all the ones that are currently on the market. So we have that covered. Okay, and we can pick from there the 2 bedrooms, the bath and a half at the very least, and show them the pricing for the things that are currently on the market. Now, prices are changing. Prices, especially in this area, they have gone up in the last year. They've almost doubled in price in the last year. So it's just helping you be aware for your customer. And as we can see that most properties are going now on the market, it looks at the lowest is 2,300 up to 3,200. So that might be the turnoff right there. If they don't want to lease and pay that much, it might be worth it for them to buy. But then we can scroll down and look at the solds. And again, I only went back 6 months. 6 months ago, A 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 1,500 square feet was going for $1,800. Now it's going between $2,200 and $3,200. So this is what you want to kind of show your customer. Look at the prices that did sell for that, and now they're no more. Now they're currently rising. So if they find something great that they want to lease at the higher price, at the much higher prices now, great, that's perfect. But now let's flip it to a sale, because sometimes even though they say they want to lease, maybe they're not. And this is sometimes you might need to pull this out of your customer. They might think that they're better off leasing because they do not know that they pretty much could actually qualify to buy and own a property. And that's what we really kind of want for them, is to be a homeowner. So when I go back to criteria, I can get rid of the lease and look at the sale. And when I look at the sales, wow, there's 94 of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 180 and I'm going to break it down to 90 as well. And when I click on results, well, gee, okay, I personally wasn't ready for this. Look, 1.6, 1.5, well, that's 1.62. But look, we've got $1 million properties here, and they're just 3 bedrooms. They're double the price, the size, but yeah, so, and then as we continue to scroll down, so there are some actives here, quite a few, that are somewhat, if for where you're at, quite reasonable. Look at this, quite a few. So we go from 195 up to 1.6 million. So there are quite a few that if they were willing to pay a $2,500 to lease, they could actually end up owning a few of these properties. And then in the next 6 months, watch their price. No doubt these would double or get close to doubling in the next year. So it would be more of an investment for them as you're doing your presentation for them. And then, oh, look, we've got one pending for $1 million. I don't even want to know what that one looks like. My goodness. And then as we scroll on down, there's quite a few pending. And as we're scrolling on down, look at the sold. So last year, 90 days ago, you could own a 2-bedroom, bath and a half, 1,200 square feet, which is what they wanted, right? For $225,000, $233,000, a little bit more for $334,000, depending on where you're located, and now it's literally doubled in pricing for most of it. Okay, at least it's gone up at least $100,000 for most of them, $50,000 to $100,000 at the least. So you could show your customer how they could, by buying, getting their investment right back pretty much. And then if you wanted to present to them, I would probably make it simple. I'd grab the ones that worked for them. That was what they were looking for. Oops, still wrong one. There we go. And I'd scroll on down to the bottom, and I'd probably do the same report. I'd make it simple till they made up their mind. And I would scroll on down, and I would, again, probably present the client flyer, the multi-map, and you pick your single CMA one-liner and call it a day. And then you can progressively get into a better presentation depending on what they decide to do when you show them the information. So it explains it all here for you. Again, and it shows you on the map where they're all located. And again, your CMA. So pretty cool stuff that you can do quickly so that you're not sitting here for hours trying to conjure up a CMA. That it's really, it is what it is. You play with the dates and you get back what you need. So that was the CMA for a potential buyer / leaser. You're going to show them the on and the off market, but you're going to do the leasing portion and you're going to do the buying portion for them so that they can weigh their options. If I go back and show you a second way to do a CMA using the map, I'll go back to residential quick search again. So drawing on the map. Now, what about if you need to put in a particular address? This is, again, one of the better ways to do a CMA because you're going to put in the address that you researched it first in Remine. You got all the information you could, and then you go to search residential quicker detail, and you come on down to map search right in the center. You don't fill anything else out yet, and you type in the address. And sometimes the system will find it for you and let it fill it in for you. And then you're all set. Now, my map area selected is red, but I still want to check it out first though. When I click on map, notice how it defaults to the radius. Well, in this particular CMA, I'm doing a CMA in Indian Village. If you know anything about Indian Village, it's 5 streets, you know, and this is not all it. They just got a little piece of it here. So I'm going to change this radius and draw what I need. So I'm going to pull this down a little bit here. And I'm going to click on the red dot and I am going to delete this shape because I want control. So even though I started with this, that does not mean I cannot manage my own drawing. That's going to happen a lot when you're using the map search. The radius takes over, and if it's not what you want, know that you can correct it. So again, I'm going to go to my polygon and I am going to draw the area that I need. Oops. And bring this on down. There we go. And I'm going to include this shape. Now, the numbers that you guys see are clusters of parcels. And then I'm going to click back on criteria. I'm all selected, and now I fill out what I need to fill out. Notice that I'm at close to 1,200 different parcels here. So here's what I'm going to do. In this case, this is normally pretty much a rough area to do a CMA on. Here's why. Even the homes are grandiose. They're all different. So you might be in the same neighborhood with a home that's 10,000 square feet and be next to a property that's 2,000 square feet. But on the outside, it looks just as grand as the 10,000 square footer. So you'd have to know you'd have to do a little research about some neighborhoods first before you do them. So don't be afraid to keep your criteria vague. Sometimes that's the best thing that you can do, and it's best to get as many results as you can so you get to filter through them versus letting the search filter through them. So I'm going to use my same combination, the sold, and I'm going to go back 6 months. Ooh, I can't. Look at that. I went back 6 months and I only got 7. I think I need a few more. So I'm going to do 365. Okay, we'll keep the 18 for right now. I'll do the pending. I'm going to go 90 days with that. Ooh, only one property pending. Okay. And I'll do active. There we go. So some are on the market. Great. I'm going to choose residential. Scroll on down a little bit. I don't have to fill in county, area, city, school district, none of that. I'm not going to put in the price, but I am going to get rid of the leases. This is for a seller, and it took me from 26 down to 21. Now, here's where it gets sticky. Okay, and the address that I used is my grandmother's address. 7 bedrooms and 4.5 baths and labs. That's not going to work if I put all that criteria in. That's going to weigh me down to close to nothing because there aren't a lot of homes that are like that. But what I will do is take a bare minimum because I still got 21 matches. So I'm going to put at least 4. Most properties in that area have at least 4 bedrooms. So I'll do 4 plus. And for baths and labs, I'm going to do at least 3 plus. Oops. Let me do that over, guys. There we go. And I'll scroll on down just a little bit more. Now, I just got a question. Do I suggest using the map search with address and within the miles? No, you got to pick one or the other. That's why when I typed in the address, I immediately clicked on the map to see where it was because that radius is going to catch you every time. It's a good starting point, but the radius usually takes you outside of your normal area, and you do want to take control of it. If you're going to use the map search, you want to be the one to guide it where it needs to go. So you could, but you really have to make sure that you don't go outside of the area too much. As I continue to scroll on down, let's see here. Square footage. Oh boy. Okay, here's the problem. We're talking 6,000 square feet. Every property doesn't have that. So this is where I get vague. I'm just going to leave it blank and see what the results tell me. But she did have a basement. She did have a garage. And we're going to leave it at that. And I got 13. That's not bad to look at. Honestly, the 21 wasn't bad to look at depending on what they are, but if you can get it narrowed down a little bit more, go for it. So now I'm going to click on results. And let's see here. So we have, when I click on status, so we do have 2 actives. We've got 1 pending. We've got 1 sold. Okay, not so bad. And let's see what they look like here for us. So Iroquois is on fire, and so is Burns. Okay, so we've got 3 on the same street. That was Seminole that I was searching. We only have 2 on Seminole, and 1 is pending, and the other sold. Okay, and they're a difference of 130,000 in pricing. So here we go. 6 bedrooms, 4.5 bath and labs, about 6,000 square footage. That's what the subject property is. So what homes are as close to that as possible? So I see one that's on the market right now for about 600, but my goodness, look how long it's been on the market. I'm going to hold off on that one for a little bit. That's a big red flag for me. That doesn't mean I still wouldn't show it. I might not show it with my report. I might show it later because it's been on the market so long. Everybody in the neighborhood knows it's on the market. So I would still want them to know that I did my due diligence of the neighborhood. Let's see. We've got one that sold. Oh, well, no, that's $1 million, so we wouldn't use that one. It is, yeah, that's a lot though. Let's see what else we can find before we go there. 6 bedrooms, 4 bathroom. Okay, Burns would work. It's not as much square footage, but it would work. So I'm going to grab that one. And that's been on the market for quite some time too before it sold. 437 days. That's still quite a bit. But the whole neighborhood knew it was on the market. 6 bedrooms for it's smaller, but it's still 6 bedrooms, and I'll take that one too. Again, still on Burns Street. And gee, that's a tough one. Okay, 7 bedrooms, but it's closer to the square footage that we have, and in price it isn't that far off, so I'll grab that one too on Iroquois. Now here's where the trouble comes in. I would actually like to get the one down the street on Seminole, but look at it. It was $530,000. It's a smaller bedroom, it's one less bedroom, one less bath, but look at that square footage. That square footage is only a third of what the subject property is. If I did use that, I would put that to the side by itself because clearly people did see that it was on the market. Everything doesn't have to go directly in your report. It's just some extra information if you have it. But because of the square footage, I'm not going to put that in with my comps and use that. It's going to throw the numbers completely off. Even though because it is on the same street, you would think you'd want to use it, but no, not in this case, and price-wise, but no, we don't want to in this case. And honestly, it looks like those would be the ones that I would pick for my CMA. They're the closest to the subject property. Some of them did stay on the market a little bit longer, but I don't want to go above and I don't want to go too much under my square footage. This would be perfect too if it didn't sell for 1.1 million. That can't, I don't know how they swung that depending on everything else. I'm not quite sure how they did it, but it did sell. So, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the next way to do a CMA. Now, remember I said that you should probably research your property first? Okay, well, I forgot to do that. So I'm going to do it right now. So I'm going to go up to PRD here. And PRD County search. And I am going to search for the address. And there I go. Okay, so I pull up the address. Let's see which one is the property. And I can scroll on down. And here's my little catch. If I can look up public records or Remine, and I can see under photos, it usually, that's the second one here, it'll tell me if the property has been listed before since 1995. Sometimes you need old data because that's all you have. And this one did sell again back in 2012. 85. So I'm just jotting down the MLS number because the second way I'm going to show you how to present, you will need the subject property's MLS number, or if you want to, you can take a picture of the subject property and then build around it all the information that you know. But if you can find an MLS number, go for it. So now that I did that, I can go back to recent searches. And you can see that I have not lost a thing. I'll go back to my recent searches. I still have the ones that I looked that were highlighted. I'm going to take these, come on down, and go to CMA down at the bottom here. Now, when you use the CMA module in RealComp, you probably don't want to do it when you need it. You probably want to set it up ahead of time, like maybe after we get off of this webinar, or when you get the video again and you can walk through it and set it up. But you don't want to do this if you need it like now, because it isn't going to work out that well for you. You're going to forget something. It might not look how you want it to look, but you want to prepare it ahead of time. So again, it'll take you 10 minutes from beginning to end to start your CMA. So you just simply follow your wizard right here up at the top here. So you can put in your customer's name. So you can create a contact or you can pick from your list. Let's see here. I'll just click on down and grab someone. Let's do Madonna. And we'll click on pages. And you will notice when I click on pages, I have already selected what I want, how I want to build my CMA. This is the part I'm saying is going to take you about half hour, 45 minutes to think about what you want. And here's how you would build it. You click the plus signs next to all of these here, and you can see there's quite a bit. You got a lot of different reports. So you can click on each of these to see what it looks like and decide what you want to use and how you want to use it. You can even upload your own custom pages. If you wanted to upload your resume, if you wanted to upload client testimonials, if you wanted to upload information about your company, you know, a marketing strategy, however, whatever you wanted to upload, you could. And once you upload it, you could add them all over here and then put them in the order that you like. And then you simply scroll down to the bottom and click on set as default. And the next time you log in, it'll be here waiting for you, just like mine. So when I click on the next part of the wizard, we need our subject property. Because I was lucky enough to go and find an MLS number from the past, I can fill that in. Again, if you don't have an MLS number and you'd like to use this, you can build your own CMA. You'd have to take the picture and then you could fill in the details. But I have an MLS number, so I'm going to fill it in. And click on fill. Great. And it pulls all my information in. You can change the remarks if you wanted to. And you could fill in any other details that you wanted. So if you needed to make adjustments, I'll scroll on down to the bottom where it says custom fields. Now, if you need to make adjustments, the first thing that you need to do, of course, is befriend an appraiser. There is no such thing as 5,000 for every bedroom, 4,000 for every bathroom. It's not. It's per region, per season. Okay, it's not take 10% off there and put 10% here. It doesn't work that way. So you want to befriend an appraiser that can tell you per region, per season, what that bedroom, what that bathroom is going for, so that you fill in the right data and get as close as possible to the right pricing that you can. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you. So I'm going to click on that. Let's take appliances out. And let me grab a bedroom here. And click OK to that. Perfect. So there's a lot that you can add in. Okay. And if not, you can make your own custom field. Like what if they had a teak deck or something like that, or pergo floors or something, something that's not the average. You get to do your own custom field, and you get to have up to 8 different things you get to, items that you get to adjust for. So then I'll scroll back up to the top. And I'm going to click on the cover sheet. And you can fill in Madonna's information. She's your customer. You could add your photo. You could add information about yourself so that you end up on the cover sheet as well if you choose to. And then we go to comparables. So here's the comps. And the reason that they pull the comps in is so that you could give it the once over. Make sure this is what you want. If not, you could go back to add from listings. It'll take you back to your search so that you can grab more. Now, that's what I have learned. I've learned to grab more than what I need. So by the time I get here, if it's something I need to get rid of, I can check the box and remove it. Better to do that than have to go back and do the whole search all over again and pull those back in. I'm going to click on map. Notice I haven't selected them either because they're already selected. I'm going to click on the map, and it will show me where each of the properties are at. There's my subject, and I don't know where that other one went, but it's on there somewhere. And I'll click adjustments. And when I click on adjustments, let me show you the easy way to do this. I'm all about getting in there and making it as easy as possible. So here's our comps. Here's our subject property in bold. We've got a low, medium, average, and high pricing. And the easiest way for you to fill in your adjustments, if you needed to for your comps, is to click in View in Detail mode. When I click in View in Detail mode, it takes my subject property next to each comp, and I can scroll down and I can fill in what I need to adjust. In this case, there's my bedroom. So what was that at the top there? Okay, so my subject has one extra bedroom, so I'm needing to adjust to that. So let's just say they're worth $2,500. So I'll put in the box and I'll put minus 2,500, and that immediately adjusts the price for me for that comp. I will scroll back up to the top, click on next to get to my number 2. Same thing, they have 6. I have 7, so we'll minus that as well to make it even. Change that, go back up to the top and click on my last one here. No adjustments need to be. 7 and 7 right there. Perfect. 4 and 4, 2 and 2. Perfect. No adjusting on this one. So we can go ahead and click on next. And then I can go back up to my wizard and click on finished. And let's see what it looks like. So you let your wizard and you let pages be your guide, because everything that you filled in comes from the pages, and then you just guide yourself through. And you can always go back and change that as well. Someone just asked me, is there a way to find the adjustment date without having to consult an appraiser? My 20 years at RealComp tells me you find an appraiser. They're the ones that have the data that you need. If there was a different way, I would surely tell you. But my 20 years at RealComp have, and the way that appraisers have taught me how to do the CMAs that I'm teaching you today, you guys want to be on par with each other. So you can Google all you like, you're going to come up with the wrong data. I can guarantee you that. Find an appraiser, befriend them, put them in your pocket. If you need them, pull them out, but make friends with one. So here we go. You've got all of your sheets right here that you added in pages, and I'm going to click on view to show you what the CMA looks like. And it takes a minute to generate. This one might be like a 30-pager. I'm thinking that's why it's going to take so long. So again, this is something that you do not have to print. That's what we don't want to do. We're trying to avoid printing. Oh, I could have adjusted the photo a little bit bigger for sure. But as we scroll on down, let's take a look at it. Here's our cover sheet. Who prepared it? Who's it for? The date, the address. Now, mind you, these are the reports that I picked. So when you go back and you look at those 30 different something reports, think about how you want to structure it. Yours might not be as robust as mine. It might be a little simpler. It just kind of depends on what you want to show your customers. And this works for a buyer too. It's just what you want to pick. Here's my guarantee to you that both of you guys can sign. And here's the first report, the brief summary of the comparable of listings. So in a single grid line, all of them together, and the list price versus the sell price and sold price per square footage. And here comes our latest report. The latest report is called the CMA Pro report. This kind of works for all customers. If they're analytical, it might work for them. If they need a picture and some details because they like to read, this is definitely going to work for them. So you've got the list price, the sold price, and the sold date. You've got a quick synopsis about the property, and you're reading the remarks from the listing. And then it goes into the different charts and pricing. And one more graph it does for you, just to show where it fits, all in price-wise. And then almost similar to the report that we looked at before, the CMA one-liner, this is their version of it, because they'll give you the address, the list, the sold price, the CDOM, cumulative days on the market, percentage of the sold price to the list price, so how close did we come to listing it, what we sold it for, and then the sold price per square footage. So very similar to the CMA one liner. And then we have another chart. And then we have an oldie but goodie. Now, if we were doing this for real, I would change the resolution on the subject property here, but for the photo. But the oldie but goodie is the 3-up report. So you get your subject property next to 2 comps per page so that it's easy for the customer to look across and see how things are adding up here. And then they get to read the remarks section. And then here's the last one right here. Now we did a price adjustment on 2 of our properties. So again, here's our subject property. Here's our comps again that we did the adjustment on. And then down at the bottom, you can see where the adjustment shows up. And on the last one, there was no adjustment. And then here come the inside shots, guys. So I'm sure you don't want to print out this. And again, you don't have to. This is for an online presentation. You do have the opportunity to email this if you choose to. I'm not going to suggest that you do that unless you get the listing. But if you feel comfortable enough to do that, you do have that option to do so. So, and then I'm just going to speed through all of these, because this is, of course, where the customer would really start analyzing their home versus here, what we have here for the comps. And shows it on the map. And that's it for my report. Again, you get to pick what you like to have in yours. Now, when you're done with your report, here's the cool thing. If you get kicked out, and I tend to kick myself out often, I usually have a couple of windows open, probably more than I should, just, doing your daily work or what have you. So I tend to kick myself out quite a bit. The cool part of doing this CMA is it auto saves every minute and a half. So you can always end up, if you get kicked out, or you want to, if you didn't and you saved it for last, you could go back to my RCO and you can click on my CMAs and it's there. So if I click on, let's say I kick myself out of this now, and then I need to get back, I could hover over my RCO, come on down to my CMAs, and there's Madonna right there. I started it at 2:30. I finished it at 2:38. And then I can click that down arrow right in front of her. There's the address. And I could edit it anytime I want it, view it, email it, or delete it. I want to go back to viewing it. And again, you just kind of wait. So now that's the only part that's really irritating, is having to wait till this the resolution comes through. Oh, we're still waiting. Okay, here it comes. And now if I wanted to, again, email this off very easily, I could click on edit CMA and we view it, or we can email it, and then that's it for that one. So this is how you get into the CMA. So if I go back to my recent searches here, so I do my CMA as I normally do. I pick the comps that I like, and I come down to CMA at the bottom, and it will start the wizard for you. So 2 things that you need to make sure that you have if you plan on utilizing this, 3 things if you plan on utilizing this CMA. Number 1, look the property up first in Remine Tax or PRD. If it has an MLS number, jot it down, from the past, jot it, or currently jot it down, because you're going to need it unless you're going to take the picture yourself and fill in all the data. Okay. Number 2, take a half an hour put aside to build the reports that you want. You do not want to think, oh, that's cool, I remember doing this in a class and they showed me this and I need this now. That's not what you want to do. It's not going to work in your favor. Have it already prepared and sitting there so that you can just fill in a little bit of the data and get it going. Okay. So, and the last thing that you want to do is, if there's anything extra that you want to upload, like your bio, your resume, company information, you want to add that in there too under the CMA. So far, we've talked about 3 different CMAs, the 2 map searches, the CMA through the residential quicker detail, and our first way is to print the flyers that we want. The second way to do the CMA is through the CMA module. Okay, now I want to show you 2 other ways to do a CMA, and we're going to move into Cloud CMA. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Home. Now I want you to think outside the box a little bit. You can do a CMA any way that you'd like to, but the map search is a friend of mine, and also the speed bar search is too. Okay, that because I just don't think that agents have to sit here and just try to conjure up something that just doesn't exist. It either happened or it didn't, and you adjust the time frame to make it work for you. That's what I've learned doing CMAs. You can toss all of that stuff that everybody's ever told you about, oh, it has to be in this frame time and this. You get the data that you need to prove it to your customer, because there's some areas that we're selling like hotcakes, and there's some where it's very static, even to this day, where people are they're just not moving. Okay, so whatever you need to do is what you need to do. If it's on a waterfront, you go find waterfront properties. You do what you must do to find what you need. There might be a property where there's only one sell in the last 3 years. What are you going to do? You got to make it work. So you either come out of the area that you're in and find a similar area like that, or you go back as many years as you possibly can. And it's nothing wrong with saying there hasn't been a home that sold like yours in the last 2 years, or there hasn't been a home that sold in 2 years in your neighborhood. So this is the data that I could find. And with my expertise, this is how we have to base the pricing. And that would be off of the look of the property, honestly. Okay. So all those ideas that people have in their head about, oh, a CMA has to go just like this. No such thing. Toss that out the window. There's framework that you have to do, but it's what you find to put in the framework that counts. So here is how I'm going to suggest that you do another CMA. I like to use, besides the map search, I like to use the speed bar. And I'm going to look in Troy. There's a particular subdivision in Troy that I would like to use as my starting point. So grab pen and paper and write this down. I'm going to give you a sequence that we found out how to do CMAs in the speed bar. Nobody taught us this. We found this out on our own in the training department about 4 years ago. And so now I tell everybody how to easily do a CMA. They say this is the quick search residential and quick search. It's not. The speed bar is the quick search. So here it goes, everybody. The sequence that you should not break is this: sold, space, S like in Sam, D as in David for sold date, space. How far are you going to go back? 0. I'm going to go back 60 days in this case because, yeah, it's the end of April. Yeah, I'll go back to the beginning of March. 0-60, space. I'm going to put in RS for residential, CO would be for condo, MF would be for multifamily, VL would be for vacant land. So sold space, SD space, 0 dash, the number of days you choose that you want to go back, property type, RS space, and now where am I searching? I'm going to put in Troy, and I'm going to hit enter. So imagine you doing this on your phone. You pull it up, and we've had 124 properties that have sold in all of Troy in the last 60 days. Now, I've got some changing up a little bit to do. So I'm going to sort by pricing. And when I click on price, I got a couple of leases going on here. That's not going to help me right now unless I was doing, of course, a CMA for leases. So I'm going to go back up to the top in my speed bar. And you can do this all together. I'm just doing it as a teaching mechanism for you. But I can put in a space and I can put in a $10 because nothing is leasing for more than 10,000, 10 plus, right? Hit enter. And I'm down to 107 now. So the lowest in all of Troy in the last 60 days, there's been 107 properties, and the lowest starts at 125 that sold, and the highest that sold is 1.37. Now watch this. If you wanted to do a search like this for the area that you farm all the time, I'm going to select everything. Come on down and click on print. Again, I'm not printing, but I'm just going to select print because that's where the report is at. Click on CMA one-liner and click on print to report. You could add the map if you wanted to, but you could run the search every day and scroll on down to the bottom, get every property that sold in the area, and look, you have your averages and your medians right there. Maybe you run it every week, you know, or something of that sort. But now you don't have to kind of rack your brain and figure out, well, what happened in my area? It's right here for you. And you could save it as a search. So if I close this and I go back to results, down at the bottom, you just click on save and you put whatever you want, Troy area CMA. And whenever you want it, you just run the results, click on print down at the bottom, pull up your CMA one-liner, and you got your averages right there for the area that you want. But now we're going to get a little bit more detailed, because remember, a CMA is time and additional location. So that's nice. I got all of Troy, but where in Troy? That's the key part. So I'm going to do something really cool, which on the grid single line, it will let you add or remove fields. So for training purposes, I'm going to be right in the center here. So I'm going to take my mouse, hover in the column, and left click, and click on Insert Column. And when I click on Insert Column, there's a couple that I want to help me with my CMA. The first one is I want basement type. I don't want just basement yes or no. I want to know if it's finished or not finished. So I'm going to click on basement type. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. So you can add in anything that you want here. And I'm going to grab garage size. And then lastly, I got to get my additional geographic location, which I'm going to pick this time subdivision. And click apply. So again, you pick any column that you wish. You're going to left click. The little box will come up. You pick what you want. You click apply. And in a moment, bam, here's the information that you needed. That's better than going to quick search, filling it in and adding this and adding that and going, well, why do I only have 2 results? Because now you'll know why you do, because you've added in what you needed. So I'm going to click on subdivision and put them in order here. Scroll on down a little bit. And now do you see that all of my subdivisions are put in order? This is what happened in the last 60 days. If I don't get enough results, like poor little DeQuinder Estates, there's only 1. If that was the sub that I was looking for, and I think to myself, well, 1 is just not enough, I could always change the date. I could go back up to the top here, and instead of saying 60 days, I could put in 90 days. And run the results again and see what I get. And when I scroll back down, let's see what we get. Oh, I scrolled a little too far. Let me go back up here. Well, yep, that's what happened. So that's how you would play around with this. So let's say I was looking for a particular sub. Let me scroll on down just a little bit more here. There it is, Mount Vernon. Okay, so I found the sub that I'm looking for. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potential comps that we can definitely use when we are doing our CMA. So you'd have your subject property, of course. And you would make sure you've got it. And again, you could research it, do all that you needed to do with it. And let's see here, 40. And you're going to select what you need. Come on down to the bottom and click on Cloud CMA. Now, I think is it next week? If it's not next week, don't quote me. You'll see the advertisement. if it's not next week, it's going to be the following week after. Cloud CMA is adding in some new features, and Tora and I are going to do a webinar. It's only going to be a half hour because it's only going to focus on Cloud CMA. So look for that advertisement yet. They haven't released it yet. But I know it's going to be within the next 2 weeks, and we're going to piggyback right off of them. So look for that within the next 2 weeks and sign up for that so that you can see all the bells and whistles of the Cloud CMA, because we can focus just on that with the new information that they're changing up for us. So when you go to Cloud CMA, again, if it's your first time, if you're a fairly new agent or you've never gone in the Cloud CMA before, it's going to ask you to fill out some information about yourself. Fill in only what you know. It's going to ask you for some crazy numbers that you may never know. Don't worry about it. It really only needs your office, your email address, your picture if you want to, information about you, and then it will take that. But you'll need that to sign in to use Cloud CMA. So once you sign in, it's got a wizard as well. It's only 4 tabs. You have to fill in the name of the report. So let's say this is for the Walkers. And then you enter in your subject property address. And you can see you kind of get some help. And public records will pull in. If you know the data to be correct, great. If not, you can change it. And you can add in a photo if you choose to. And then you scroll on down to the bottom. And I'm going to show you 2 ways how to use Cloud MLX. So I really, really like this way of presenting too. If you have to wow someone, this is a great way to do it. If you feel like you don't have to do all of that, the first 2 ways are great too. Or if you just need to print off you'll get the feel of your customer. If you just need to print off the listings, and show the inside shots and show it on a map, that's cool too. But if you got to wow them, this is the one. So here's the results that we picked. And we're going to scroll on down and click on Fetch Listings. Or you can scroll back up to the top and do the same. And we wait. So when our results come back, here we go. Our purple is our subject property. And here are our comps. And then we'll scroll on down just a little bit. If you want to put in a suggested price, this is where you would do it. Now, again, I'm going to suggest that you don't, because if you fill in a price and the customer goes for it and it doesn't work, guess who they're going to blame? I let them pick the price, if nothing else, and fill it in. But here you go with your low, medium, average, and high. And if you, again, needed to make adjustments for any reason, you could click on the link that says Details and Adjustments. And it opens up to like a mini flyer, and you can scroll through the pictures and, kind of look, see what's available there, and scroll on down a little bit. And here is where you can make your adjustments. You can add up to 10 adjustments. So let's just say I have to do the bedrooms. And I'll put in, there we go, put in your value plus or minus, and you save it. It will immediately make the adjustment for you right there. So you can make up to 10 adjustments. You also get to add in listings. You can add up to 10 listings. Now, here's why they will allow you to do that. What if there's a property that was a for sale by owner that you know about in the neighborhood, and it's a perfect comp, but since it never made it to the MLS, we'd have no way of tracking it. if you knew information about that, you could add that as a listing as well, and up your game for the CMA. And then as we scroll back either down at the bottom or all the way back up to the top, we could click on custom report. Okay. So we got a question: with our comps, will the listing office show? Yes, the listing office will show all the time because NAR says that company has to have credit for that listing. However, the listing agent will not show. It will be branded to you. So here we go again, guys. Not a rush job. When you come back and do your CMA report, it's going to take you a minute because they got, well, our CMA report, you saw we had like 30 different reports. This one has double that. Okay, so it's a lot of reports in the cloud CMA. I mean, tons, and to look at all of this, tons of different reports that you get to use. So again, you don't want to use it when you have to use it. You want to make provisions ahead of time to set it up. So if you wanted to change the title page, maybe customers don't know what comparative marketing analysis is. That means nothing to them. So you could click on edit maybe and change it, let's say, to neighborhood report or neighborhood sales, whatever you wanted. Whatever works. And you could save it. Okay. You want to, if you wanted to use a cover letter, you could edit it. When it's time for you to use your agent resume, you can edit information about your company. You can edit it here. If you don't want any of these, notice how this little red dash appears. You could click on that and remove it. You can scroll on down a little bit and you get to add in, I mean, there's so many options that you have here, tons of them that you can easily, like you can click on the analysis chapter and see if this is what you want it to look like. You could print it, you could download it if you wanted to. So many options you have, but you also can remove them. So for instance, I'm going to get rid of the closing chapter. I'm just trying to get the listing right now, so I don't want to talk about the closing information yet. You know, we might not need the commissions distribute. Well, maybe, but why you need a real professional? I mean, all of this information, I'm going to get rid of suggested list price. All of those things you can get rid of if you needed to, just like you can add. For instance, one that I'm going to suggest that you can add is under analysis. You might want to add in the online valuation analysis. And when I click on that, it comes from Zillow. So Zillow, the source is Zillow. They'll tell you the sold date, the sold price, their estimate, and even the difference. So for those folks that went ahead of you, like they will, and go to Zillow, and then they'll tell you what Zillow told them and think that they're on to something. Now you can beat them to the punch. Yeah, I researched that too. And here's the report for Zillow. So, you know, and then you can explain to them how Zillow works, how it's not, but that's all that they have. So of course they would probably use it. So I'm going to add the online valuation analysis to my report. I think I got rid of everything that I don't want for right now. And then I'm going to play with my color scheme. What color scheme do I want? So I'll click on theme. And I can click the down arrow and I've got an array of colors. I mean, it's tons of different colors here that you can pick from. So even some obnoxious color combinations they've got here too for you. Not that you would do it, but I'm just saying they thought of everything, you know, pink and purple together. Who'd do that? But, you know, they've got it all together for you. So you pick whatever you like and you choose your theme. The cool part about this is once you set it up, It's there and it will stay static till you change it again. You've got a layout that you've got 6 different layouts so you can make the report look like how you want. I'm going to click on photo with max data because I want you to see all the one that gives you the most information for this CMA so that you can pare it down if you choose to. And you get to play with the different fonts. So you get a lot of different fonts to pick from. And when you're done making it look like the way that you want it to look, let's see here, you can click on Publish Report. Let's save it and let's take a look at it. Now, when the page comes back, I purposely left these here. This is my history of CMA. So if you don't want to delete your CMAs, by all means, you can keep them here, especially for your farm areas. Once you start getting your farm areas together and you know exactly the report that you want, you can just come in and edit it, change up the subject property, and just pull in the new listings, and then it'll be exactly what you want. You'll be done in seconds. So here is what the CMA looks like. When I click on View PDF, ooh, yeah, 37 pages. I definitely don't want to print that. So I can scroll on down, and here's my cover sheet. Now, of course, if I had added in a picture of the subject property, that would show instead of the Google map. But as I'm scrolling on down, I got my resume going. I got information about my company. The difference between a CMA and an appraisal, information to contact me. Here's the map of the comps. So the purple is the subject with the other comps around it here. Here's the summary of comparable properties. Okay, here comes all the listings. So remember, I picked the one that has the most information on it for you, so you can see what you're getting at full. So here's the first flyer. Here's the second. Here comes the pictures. And here's the second one. And I think we had 4, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a nice, clean report that they give you. You know, a little different than what we're used to in RealComp, but it's different. Here's the home I did the price adjustment on. So that would be, you know, they wanted to pull that separate. And I think this is the last one. And then here's your analysis. And then here is that online valuation analysis that I think is probably, out of all the reports, this is definitely the one of the best ones that you want to keep. Because again, it's literally coming from Zillow. So they've got the sold date, the sold price, the Zestimate, and the difference. How close were they, you know, to Zestimating what the home would sell for? Not too bad here, but we know sometimes they can be, you know, a little left to the center, if you will. And then we've got the sold property analysis. And then I thought I got rid of the closing stuff, but here's the commission distribution. So these are just the reports that I left. By no means do you have to have all 37 pages of this. You know, but it's important that you see, yeah, like I would have got rid of the staging for my home because we're not even close to being there yet, and the moving checklist and all of this. So you can adjust this very easily, very easily. So all you have to do, if you wanted to change up something, is close that window and simply click on edit, and you would springboard to customize, and then you could change whatever it is that you wanted. Here's also something that you can do. Another option for presenting that I think is really kind of cool. Again, you can use your phone, your iPad, you could use your laptop for it. You can present in a slideshow. So if I click on view slideshow, I love this part of it. And think if you were doing an open house. Remember that part where I showed you could add listings? You could get rid of what was sold, and you could add in all your office lists, up to 10 of them. You could add up to 10 of your office listings in the neighborhood and show the slideshow, at the open house while people are looking around. So there's the beginning of the report. And it kind of bounces and shows you where you should go. And then it starts the slideshow for you. So here's the inside shots. And you can click on any of these inside shots and make it larger if you wanted to do that as well, instead of just having the smaller pictures for it. And the next one, and again, look up at the top that I'm circling. Here's the information about the property. And then again, you can always click down and see the inside shots. And then your report starts, your average comparable homes. There's the analysis. And then here's my favorite part. Sign and complete the listing agreement. Not would you sign and complete the listing agreement. So if you're a little bit shy, you don't have to be with this one. It's just going to tell them what we're going to do next. And then this is, when am I coming back to list your property and take the photos? And now this is what I'm going to do to help you sell your property. So it helps you out with that demand of let's sign this and complete the listing agreement. And again, that's just another cool way that you can present. The other cool things that you can do with the slideshow is if I click the down, well, you can do it with the PDF too, but you can click the down arrow and you can copy the PDF link. Maybe you want to put it on your Facebook page. Maybe you want to put it on, your Instagram or something of that sort. You could even copy the slideshow link. You could email it and create home beat. That's one of the new things that's coming out there. It's kind of like a flyer, if you will. And you could delete it if you did not want it. But if you needed to edit it, by all means you can. And we're going to edit this one more time because I want to show you this other cool trick that Cloud CMA has to offer you. Okay. And I got a question. Okay. Would you recommend to use Cloud CMA for the 2 on RCO3? It depends. Who's your customer? You'll get a feel for your customer. If you think that they need the bells and whistles, immediately you're going to use the Cloud CMA. If you think they just need to the point, right to it, I would probably pick the flyers, the map, and the CMA one line. It really depends on them. It would take nothing for you to have both ready. I would now, this is me honestly speaking. The least of them I would use is the CMA module. I honestly, I would, and I'm coming from a customer point of view here, because of course I don't do what you guys do, but I'm just thinking as a homeowner myself, what would I need? And in my age group, what would I need to get the point across? it would have to be the Cloud CMA for me, or it would be those flyers, the map, and the CMA one liner. It would, because again, you don't want to lose me in all of this fanfare. That's why you don't want to pick too many listings either, because I'm going to forget that you're there. I'm going to be looking at the listings. That's why I don't want you to print them. That's why I want you to show them as a presentation so you don't lose me in it. Because if you print those out, it's a wrap. That's so old school now to print it out. You, like I said, if I sign with you, you can email it to me and I can look at it all I want. So, I mean, it's really a cool thing if you make me part of the transaction by pulling me into the presentation. So here's the other way that you can use Cloud CMA. Let's say we did a CMA and we got only one. Someone brought up like waterfront a couple of minutes ago. And let's say you only got one property. And you're thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? I gotta show them more than one. Well, that's where Cloud CMA could somewhat be a savior to you. You pick that one listing that you have, that one, you bring it on in to Cloud CMA and you set it up. And once you set it up, you're going to do this. You're going to try to dig for more. So we're going to scroll on down and you're going to ignore the one or two that you found here. And you're going to go for, they call it the quick and dirty. I don't know why, but okay, we're going to roll with that. The quick and dirty. And we're going to find properties automatically near the subject property. Now, how many do you want? So you can have as little as 10. I doubt any of you will pick 50. I hope you don't pick 50, but you can pick up to 50. It's nice that you got the option. And then you can go back as far as 3 years. Sometimes you have to. It just depends on the type of property that they have. And that's why I say throw all those ideas out of the door of, oh my God, it has to be 90 days. It has to be 180 days. It has to be a year. You got to find what you got to find to prove to your customer so that you can list the property. I mean, you can tell them I searched back 90 days. I searched a year. I searched what standard I should, but I couldn't find anything. So I had to go back this far to find anything closely related to what we were looking at. So it defaults to a year. And I believe the CMA that I did, I went back 90 days. So I'm going to go back 6 months this time. See if I can get more than that. And I'm going to click on update listing. And we just wait till it pulls up. It's going to find something for you. You just have to decide if you want to use it or not. And sometimes a bad what we would consider a bad CMA might turn out to be a good CMA for you in some cases. And what I mean by that is sometimes if you don't get enough sold, maybe you do have to use an expired to prove your point. Maybe you do have to pull an unconditional withdraw to prove your point because nothing was selling in the neighborhood at the time. Maybe it's full of expireds and your customer is on that same wavelength and you know it's not going to work. So you can show them, because there's nothing active, nothing sold. You might have to show them nothing but expired so that they get the point to bring the price down so that they can list it and get it sold. So sometimes bad ones can turn into good for you. Just depends on what it, where you're at and what is available to you. So when you get your options here, you just select what you need. And I'm just going to kind of get rid of my leases here, because they're not going to help in this case. And I'm going to Go back up to the top and click on Customize Report. And because I already have it set up the way, oh, nope, I get to adjust it. We want to get rid of you and you and you. So quite a few things that we can pare it down to. And then you can literally click on Publish Report and you get to, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Let's see here. Let me go back while it's editing. I don't want to do that. I wanted to show you a different report and how fast you can switch that up too. So if you don't like it, you're not stuck with anything. So I'll go back to edit and I'll go back to customize. And instead of us looking at the whole shebang, again, remember you have other options. I'm going to do a 4-up report because we have so many listings, and save it. And here we go. And now you can scroll down and you can look at them in a different way. So it's a different report. Not that you would use this many comps, but I wanted to show you how it breaks it up when you break up the status. And then it shows in the report here. So it's kind of cool that you have so many options. That way you can look different than the other agents that are being interviewed from you as well. So definitely use this. And again, the wow factor is definitely that view slideshow. They're gonna love that one, you know. So you can always end up, you know, that'll bring them right on in. They'll probably take over your computer at that point because it's so cool. Okay. So we got a question. What's the advantage of the cloud CMA compared to a general CMA? Well, after an hour and a half here, Mark, talking to you and showing you everything we got, I'm going to leave that up to you. I've showed you every CMA and every presentation that we have. So that's going to, you saw the advantages. So you have to pick what works for you and what you want to show your customer. I can't answer that for you. I wouldn't even begin to answer that for you. It's going to depend on each customer and what you want to utilize, because I've given it to you in full, my friend. So you use which one you want when you need to use it. So, and here again is your slideshow. And you can go through all of those until you know, and just make them part of this if you'd like to. So that's the Cloud CMA. And again, remember, they're going to update this within the next week and a half. So look for that advertisement on when you log into RealComp about the Cloud CMA. It's just going to focus on Cloud CMA. And we'll go through a review of how to get in there, and we're also going to show you the new stuff that they've added in so that you can see all the options that you have when you want to use Cloud CMA. Okay, so I'm going to go back and close that up. That's another reason. Let me bring this to your attention too. On your dashboard, you have Cloud CMA. So you can get into it from here, but I don't personally like to use it from there. I like to be within RealComp Online, because if I need to go back and change something up, I can just toggle through my tabs, go back to it and undo something if I don't want it, or add in something and then go back into my Cloud CMA if I want to. You do have options, but sometimes this is best just in case you forgot something or you want to go back and easily change it up. So I like to do my CMAs inside RealComp, although I have that option to do it outside. So that's going to conclude our full on how to create CMAs using real comp. And this is a recording. So you guys will receive this probably within 48 hours, somewhere in there. And definitely make sure you go back and do your homework. If you want to use the CMA module here that I'm circling, it's going to take you a few minutes to set that up. And definitely, I think a lot of you are going to use the cloud CMA. Make sure you go in there and set that up too, so that you have it and it's ready for you and you're not rushing when you need it. Okay, and it's just going to make life so much easier. And also, don't forget to practice this little trick up at the top too with the speed bar. So what you're going to do is fill it in exactly like you see it. The only thing you're going to change up is the time and the city. And then you're going to use your grid single line to add in what you want. And boom, you got everything that you need right there. So thank you guys. Go back and review the video, and good luck with your CMAs, and see you on the next webinar that we have. Have a good day.